Malik Carter did not look like someone who would end up at Harvard University. In fact, when people first met him they often assumed the worst. A troubled teen, a runaway, maybe even a thief. But the truth was far more powerful than any of those assumptions. Malik was a survivor. He was born in a rough part of South Side Chicago where broken glass covered sidewalks and hope was considered a luxury. His mother once worked as a nurse with a warm smile and a gentle voice, but after a series of devastating events including losing her job and being evicted, she slowly fell into addiction. Malik never knew his father. It was just the two of them for as long as he could remember. Until it was not. At the age of 12, Malik came home from school one day to find their apartment door locked. The landlord had changed the locks and slapped a yellow eviction notice on the door. His mother was gone. Her phone disconnected. The neighbors said they had seen her get into a car with a man the night before and never return. Malik waited for 3 days in the stairwell. He had no food and no plan. On the 4th day, when hunger and fear overtook him, he walked away and did not look back. He became one of the invisible children of the city. Sleeping on benches in train stations, digging through trash bins behind fast food joints, stealing naps in public libraries until the guards kicked him out. His days were spent looking for scraps. His nights spent avoiding danger. The streets became both his prison and his teacher. And yet through it all Malik carried one treasure with him. A book. He had found it in a donation bin behind a church. The autobiography of Malcolm X. He did not know why it called to him. Maybe it was the name. Maybe it was the photo on the cover. But that book became his companion. He read it slowly under dim street lights, reread it under bridges, and held it like a shield against hopelessness. It gave him something the streets never did. Purpose. It was during one of his many afternoons hiding in the back of a library that Malik found something else. An SAT prep book. Torn, missing pages scribbled with pencil marks but still readable. He did not know what the SAT was or why it mattered. But the word scholarship appeared enough times to catch his attention. So he read. And he studied. Quietly, alone and determined. After nearly a year on the streets, a social worker named Clara noticed him behind a gas station. She brought him to a youth shelter. It was nothing fancy, a shared room with bunk beds, peeling paint and flickering lights. But for Malik it was paradise. There were showers, meals, and rules. One of the rules was attending school. Malik enrolled in the local public high school reluctantly. He was older than most freshmen, smaller from malnutrition, and guarded. He said little. Avoided eye contact. Kept his head down. But one teacher saw past his silence. Her name was Ms. Jenkins. An English teacher with a sharp eye and a heart bigger than her classroom. She noticed how Malik stayed after class reading extra books. How his essays carried depth beyond his years. How he asked questions with his eyes even when his mouth stayed shut. One afternoon she pulled him aside. Malik, she said, you are carrying more than just a backpack on your shoulders. You are carrying a story. And I want to help you tell it. For the first time in years someone believed in him. With her encouragement Malik began to write. His essays transformed from stiff assignments to emotional reflections. He wrote about hunger. About cold nights. About the sound of silence when no one came to help. He also wrote about resilience. About his dream of becoming someone who could make a difference. Ms. Jenkins helped him apply for the SAT. With a fee waiver and a borrowed bus card he made his way to the testing center. He was nervous. Surrounded by clean clothes, fancy backpacks, and parents dropping off their children in cars, Malik felt like an outsider. But he focused. When the results came back he had scored a 1510 out of 1600. A score that placed him in the top 5% nationwide. His school was shocked. Students whispered. Teachers stared. Malik ignored them. He was focused on the next step. Ms. Jenkins urged him to apply for college. He laughed at the idea. Who would take a homeless kid with no family, no address and no money? She simply replied, Harvard will if they see what I see. So they worked on his application. It took months. Late nights. Draft after draft of personal statements. Malik refused to write a sob story. Instead he wrote the truth. The hard parts. The quiet victories. The quote he ended with became the foundation of his life. I may have started in a shelter, but I carry the hunger of someone who wants to change the world. The day the Harvard acceptance letter arrived, the entire shelter cheered. Malik cried for the first time in years. Not because he was sad, but because someone had finally said yes to him. At Harvard, Malik was an anomaly. He arrived with one duffel bag and a heart full of ambition. His classmates came from prep schools and private academies. But Malik came from survival. He came from the concrete. From scarcity. From fire. He did not try to blend in. He stood out. He shared his story in classrooms. In clubs. At speaking events. He became a voice for students who had none. He majored in political science. Interned in Washington. Founded a student organization for first-generation college students. He never forgot the people still back in shelters. The kids still falling asleep hungry. The boys still hiding behind dumpsters with books in their hands. By age 24 he launched his nonprofit From Street to Scholar. Its mission was simple: provide homeless teens with tools, guidance and mentorship to enter higher education. He built a team. Found funding. And within 3 years the program had helped over 500 youth receive scholarships to colleges across the country. Malik returned to the very shelter that once saved him, this time in a suit, standing before a room of scared, quiet kids. You are not broken, he told them, you are in training. Every day you survive is preparing you to do something incredible. When Harvard invited him back to give a keynote speech for graduating seniors, he stood at the podium, eyes clear and voice steady, and told the crowd, I did not come from wealth or connections. I came from the streets. But I did not let the streets define me. I let them refine me. I turned pain into purpose. And that is how I got here. Today Malik Carter is more than just a Harvard graduate. He is a symbol. A reminder. A living testament that brilliance can be born from brokenness. That circumstances do not determine destiny. That sometimes the ones we overlook are the ones most capable of changing the world. From homeless to Harvard, the journey no one expected, but exactly the one the world needed to hear.